Hello everyone, it's Bernard here, and today I want to talk with you about the new edition of Warhammer 10th edition and why I think, based on everything we know so far, that this is gonna be the best edition ever. So in this video I want to talk about 5 points that we know either from the live preview or the Warhammer community page and give my insight on each of them and why I think they will make a great 10th edition. So the first point is universal special rules are back. We actually know it from the Warhammer community FAQ, and I'm really excited about it because even though the universal special rules were a pain in the butt previously and 8th edition was getting rid of it as one of its headline points, I think that they kind of failed and they can really benefit from bringing them back if they do it right, and I really hope that they will. So basically previously the universal special rules were all the rules that were universal across different factions, different codices, etc. And how this worked was that you had a rule that was repeating, for example, Deep Strike, Feel No Pain, even some smaller ones like Machine Spirit, and they were written, gathered neatly and written in the core rulebook, in the main rulebook, which was great in theory, but it was kinda annoying that every time you saw this rule in your codex, you had a reference, read it in your main rulebook. So it was a lot of bookkeeping, and back then there was no handy PDF guide, no core rules available for free on the internet. You had to buy the big thing. And every time you were, for example, preparing your forces, your army, you had to go back to this big book and keep everything in mind. And there was a ton of them. There were acute senses, counter-attack, deep strike, feel no pain, rending, gets hot, power of the machine spirit, infiltration, tons and tons of rules. Basically, I think at least 8 pages. So it was kinda clunky and annoying. However, if Games Workshop focus only on the important ones and keep them easily accessible, which again they don't really need to, because when we have the PDF with core rules, it will be always available on your phone to check, but I hope that they will be referenced in every codex. Basically what I expect from this is that every army will have, the same rule as you have, so no different names like, Terror from Below, Transdimensional, Translocation, whatever, Golden Light, Teleport Strike. You will simply have a Deep Strike, so when you're facing new opponent, you're learning new army, you will be just like, okay, I know this rule, I know how it works. Because currently, even though they actually work all the same, you have to always read whole text to make sure that there are no small changes, restrictions, bonuses, etc. What I also hope is that they won't make weapon special rules universal. Like, I don't need a dedicated universal special rule to tell me that when I roll 1 to hit with my plasma weapon, I will get a mortal wound. This can easily be added in the weapon profile, so I hope that this will stay as it is currently. And then we will have all the other rules, like for example deployment, common special ones, gathered neatly in the universal special rules section. The second thing I want to talk about is actually the new stat we saw in the preview of the Thermagants, the OC strat. It stands for Objective Control, and I think it's absolutely amazing, especially if GW, uses the same approach, and they promise that they will, with all the other game aspects. Because what they did is simply amazing. They got rid of the Objective Secured special rule, which even though simple in theory, was sometimes quite confusing, and I will give you an example in a moment, and instead they gave a new value on the datasheets, another basically statistic, and this allows 2 things. First of all, you got rid of whole rule, because currently the Objective Secured is a kinda illogical rule in many aspects. For example, your Space Marines, those intercessors or your regular tactical Marines, when the moment they got promoted to a veteran or to the first company, they lose the ability to do basic battlefield tasks like controlling objectives. Basically, your Blade Guards, they don't get Objective Secured, even though the regular intercessors do. And it's very all or nothing approach, because, for example, when you have 5 objective secured models and your opponent has 1 objective secured and 5 without this rule, basically who controls the objective? The guy who has more models, because even one model with objective secured on both sides means that the rules cancels out. And on the other hand, when you have, for example, 10 Terminators and your opponent has one surviving Hormagant, he will control the objective because he has objective secured and you don't, which makes absolutely no sense. Now, having this value means that different models will be better at holding objectives or will simply require less models. We already know from the preview that Knights, for example, will have very high objective control value, which makes perfect sense. I hope Custodies, for example, will also have very high value, so they will have easier time controlling objectives without this all or nothing approach when, you know, you can't really steal objective from Custodies because they have objective secured and you don't. You can overwhelm them, you can... Basically, every unit from your army can do basic tasks, but some are better, some are worse, and I really appreciate this granularity, this extra level. I think this will be perfect. And again, they got rid of this whole rule. You don't need to keep track which unit has it and which hasn't, because GW tend to change it with, for example, balanced data slates. Now you have a fixed value on every single model, and they can simply, you know, change it in an update, in a codex, whatever. Great rule, great execution, great direction. Thumbs up, GW. Speaking of granularity, extra level and datasheets, I hope, and it was already confirmed in the live preview, that there will be, you know, greater variety of, for example, toughness values, that GW won't be scared of going outside of the preferred 1, 2, 5, 10 values. And they already talked about the toughness value, which I think is very important, that there will be models that will have much higher toughness. There will be vehicles with toughness above 11, they don't specify how big this value can get, but honestly it can go up to infinity because you will still be always wounding on 6s. So if you want a super tough model that can only be ever wounded on 6s, you can simply put toughness 20 and then down the line make, you know, very, very powerful Tachyan arrow from Necrons. It can have strength 20 as well, so it will be able to wound the toughest things on 4-up and every other thing on 2-up. I really think that being not afraid of higher values will allow for extra differentiation between different units, and even units like Primarchs can have higher toughness and still be not as tough as, for example, Landrider or Imperial Knight. So I hope that GW will go down this road, although from the Termagant datasheet we already see that the weapon strength stays similar, so it will probably be mostly on the toughness side of things. But we also saw that the leadership value changed. I didn't plan this making a separate point, but it also appears that now you have to roll above your leadership value, probably on 2 dices. So now every single roll for you will be beat this value and you're good to go, which is a nice streamlining. The leadership will be reworked also, but again, this will probably be in a future video when we learn some more about it. Now, the point number 4 is also staying in the datasheets, and it's the datasheets itself. GW told us that they are focusing on the, you know, profiles first, the other rules second, and that in the future you will be able to basically pick only the data sheets you need and, you know, take them alone. Basically that there will be data cards like for Age of Sigmar, which would allow you to make your custom, for example, deck for your army, your roster, and just take few pages of rules for the tournament, for example, or for your or to your friend to play. I can't say how exciting I am for this, because this is something I and Peter were already doing. Like he was making copies of pages of units and rules he would be using in a game. For Thousand Suns in particular, it's a very complex army, so having only the rules you need on your hand prepared all the time is very convenient, and allowed him to, you know, to remember all the stuff, to easily, you know, check something on the go. So I'm very excited that GW will provide us with such datasheets, although they also promise that the rules will be available digital, which is, I think, exciting more for me than Peter, because I honestly just I am fully digital person. I have my iPad. I would love to have codexes on it again. GW even promised a working day one app for at least building a new app. So hopefully they will really make it good this time. Fingers crossed. The fifth point I think is exciting as a general sign in which direction GW will move from now on. And it's simply that all the rules, all those indexes, all the data sheets, all the core rules, etc., they will be all available day one for free to download. And this is actually huge. Like, I was thinking about it later, and it's bigger. Like, for us players, it's kind of something we expect. Like, I bought my Astra Militarum Codex. I haven't even played a game with them, and it will be redundant down the line, like in probably 2 months. Same with World Eaters. So yeah, it's nice that they are providing a free rules if they are making the previous ones obsolete so fast. But when you think about it, there are so many profiles, so many different units, so many rules that the designer team had to work on. They really literally spent hundreds of hours probably making it and balancing it and doing all sorts of things, and we will get their work for free. Just like that. It's amazing. It shows that GW now focuses on making the game much more accessible. They are opening for the community, and they finally risking this approach that if they will provide something for us, that we will probably be thankful, and it will result in higher sales, more models, more players, and I'm really excited with their basically business approach at this point. And I'm just super happy with it. They said that down the line there will be codexes, you'll be able to buy those data cards, so it won't be free forever all the time, but it's still great that during this reset we don't get indexes like with 8th edition. We get rules for free, and when you get a proper codex you will basically pay for it, but hopefully it will allow you, as I mentioned, this ability to simply make your army a deck of cards that you bring to a tournament, so it will be easier to keep all the rules, because currently I'm going back to the datasheets aspect. It's currently so annoying because there is the crusade section in the middle. So basically, if you're playing a competitive game, you have your stratagems and all your army rules on one side, then you have your profiles on the other side, in the middle you have the crusade. But honestly, it doesn't matter if the crusade would be moved to the end, like with the demons codex, because you would still have to go through many pages of units you don't use, for example, searching the statistics, or different pages of stratagems, or different rules for different chapters. For example, in the Space Marines, like in the Chaos book, you have different legions, and if you pick, for example, Black Legion, you have to, skip so many pages from your army rules to the stratagems to your profiles. Like, there is so much clutter that you would literally need several bookmarks to have easy access. Now you don't need any bookmarks. You can simply take probably like 10 pages at most with all your different units profiles. So amazing changes, in my opinion. And these are only a handful really, 5 of them. And I will definitely be making follow-up videos alongside Games Workshop releasing new updates on Warhammer community. But so far I'm really excited because they basically showed us their mindset, their approach, how they will handle things, and so far it's working very, very well. I'm very excited. I hope that this edition will bring the best from all the editions before, so even stuff like 5th edition, 8th edition, everything will be get together. I have one bonus thing that I really love, and that is getting rid of the psychic phase, because it's a running joke between me and Peter, because back in 5th edition, I believe, and 6th maybe, there was no psychic phase at all. You basically used your psychic powers whenever it was appropriate. Like you had a witchfire power, you used it alongside shooting with other units. So it actually made sense. You have a shooting power, use it in shooting. You have a melee combat power, or using your force weapon, use it in a fight phase. You have a buffing thing, use it in a movement phase. Simple as that. I tend to forget about this phase, and I was like, okay, movement, shooting, and I basically skipped psychic phase so many times that Peter is always joking that, now it's a shooting phase, and I know, okay, it's a psychic phase. Removing it altogether is really showing that they are not, pulling punches. They are really dedicated to make this game very streamlined, but in a good way. Like, it's basically Occam's razor at this point, that if something can be done simpler, they will do it as long as it still provides the same effect. Okay, so that's enough talking from me. But I'm very, very interested in your opinion, guys. What are you most excited about, or what you fear the most being removed? Let me know in the comments below. And if you stayed with me for so long in this video, consider subscribing and definitely give this video a like, because it helps me tremendously. And have a great day. Bye bye.